But for right now.
Leave it on for now. But anytime you have something to say, please check.
Yeah. Or go to bed.
Still here's
Oh my gosh, you are a pro. Yeah.
Every meeting.
I was having an identity crisis, but I feel better. And these are new members who I've never met with you like in person. Yes. Oh, no. Are these our new, are you our new members?
Oh, you're sad.
Yeah. Well, we're new. Oh, hi. Hi, George. Pleasure to be here. Well, we have new members that I've.
We do, and they're both not gonna make it today.
All right, I've never met them in person. I've been on Zoom calls. I kind of sleep.
Two of
This is
them,
my brain.
the other one, we probably not joking, so she's always.
We all know. Yeah. This is my Washington DC right now. Yeah. I remember last time we hadn't lived there for 40 years. Jude is on one and we had. Oh, good. Excellent.
We got enough.
We're impressed. That's how we got tomorrow. I get it.
Alright, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order. This is for the South Kohala Community Development Plan Action Committee. Good evening, and I'm the chair, Scott Nagata, for the committee. And just have the meeting come to order now. It's Tuesday, March 17th, 2026, and it is 5:12 p.m. Meeting is being held in person and via interactive community conference type. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted by the planning department's YouTube channel. Sunshine law, excuse me, sunshine law reminder for remote viewers, please keep your camera on. Also, please state for the record where you are participating from and whether anyone is in the room with you. Okay, so we'll just go on there. Roll call. Any members present. Trustee.
Here.
Trustee's here. Alana is not here. She's not able to make it. Ruth Smith.
Here.
Jojo Tanimoto. Out here. Julia Alex.
Present from my residence and I'm alone.
Okay. Nice to see you, Julia. Thank you for
My
coming.
pleasure.
Thank you, Tristan, too. Kevin Plotman, here. Family Lau, is away. And Karen Anderson is also away. She's in Peru right now, so we have quorum for the meeting. And our planning department staff is here with us, Mariam Salma, Jessica Lahib, and Janice Hata is on Zoom, and then we also have Bella here as well. Very much, thank you for setting everything up for us. Appreciate that. Some housekeeping. Let's just run through this real quick. Please ensure that your cell phones are silenced. If you are here in person and wish to testify, please complete a sign-up form and provide it to the staff. If you're joining via Zoom and wish to testify, please use the raise hand feature or send a message in the chat to the Zoom host indicating the agenda item on which you wish to speak. All speakers are asked to clearly state their name for the record before beginning the testimony. And for those attending in person, please direct your comments towards the owl camera, showing this in the middle, so participants on Zoom can hear you clearly. We will do aloha etiquette for today's meeting. As a reminder, we strive to conduct our meetings in the spirit of aloha. We maintain an open and positive attitude, listen to understand, and respect that everyone has the right to share their ideas and feel comfortable doing so. It's acceptable to disagree, but please do respectfully focus on the issues and not the individual. One person speaks at a time with no side conversations. to minimum. Minimize your distractions by silencing cell phones and refraining from outside work during the meeting. In consideration of everyone's time, please adhere to established time limits. Don't think we'll have a problem with that today. So, okay, approval of minutes. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at those. Times by 15, and the committee will consider approving the draft minutes from the November 20th meeting last year, 2025. Does anybody have any corrections on that? A chance?
And I moved to,
What's that?
and I moved.
Yeah, if there's no corrections, let's have a motion. Yeah.
I moved that we approve the minutes.
And second.
Second.
Julia seconds that.
Anybody?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and then it passes unanimously. Public testimony on agenda items time. We will now take public testimony on items that are on today's agenda. If you don't have a copy of that, you can get a copy right there at the front entrance. And as noted on the agenda, members of the public may testify now or when specific agenda items call to order. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes per item. And please keep comments to matter within the community scope. If there's anyone here who'd like to testify, let's fill out the test. And we have two community members here with us. In-person testimony. Just skip that. We don't have any other ones in Zoom either. Okay, so we're gonna skip ahead here to business. Time is 5:17, and we'll move now to the committee business. For our first business item of business is electing a vice chair for the committee. To serve for the 2026 calendar year. Let's see. If there's anyone who wishes to testify on this, please, we can have time right now. So we'll just move ahead on that. Nominations for vice chair. I do have a nomination for Tristy. It's been helping.
I second that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a quick second on that. If there's any other nominations for that, vice chair right now, this year. No. Okay, so we'll just take a vote on that. All those who are in favor for Tristy being vice chair, please say, please aye.
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 Aye. So all of us, Tristy is won unanimously, and she will be our new vice chair this year, 2026. Thank you again for stepping up and staying on here. Appreciate that a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're gonna move to our next item, which is the permitted interaction groups. As I've been trying to get around to all of our community members, the second road is still and understandably it is still one of the big priorities. So I'd like to what do you call it? Open it up to create deliberating about creating a permanent interaction group to investigate some CDP actions 1.1 finance and construct a second access road to Queen K Highway. Her permitted interaction group would be determined, the scope would be determined during this meeting, but may include researching the status of the project and providing suggestions to the committee on future decisions. I kind of, actually, since Kendra's here, could I ask for your knowledge about this a little bit? Would that be okay? Did you go to the YMA meeting, or was that just James? Okay, and at that meeting, was it 2 weeks ago? The Public Works was there, and they kind of brought in Waikoloa, right? And announcing a second road, or is that, or announcing, looking into it, or?
I think it's a discussion that we've heard again and again. Scott, I think to answer that, it was pretty much the discussion that we've all heard multiple
So it's
times
just,
over a period of time. I think Director Sniffen made it clear on what the state was doing.
yeah,
I think that Deputy Director Acevedo said that whatever the state didn't do in completing that project, that the county would do within boundaries. But there are some parameters that have to be met, and that all has to do with the egress road, not the quote unquote multi-lane arterial road, or the second road as it's been called for a long time. And basically, there wasn't any new news, as I understood it, and I don't have any new news today from our office on where that really stands. We're going into budget season right now. And I think there are a lot of things, including wastewater, that are challenging concerns for the county. So yeah, so I don't think there was any news at the Waimea Community Association meeting. I certainly don't have any new news. I guess maybe if you don't mind my asking you a question.
sure.
In forming the PIG, would it be helpful to this committee to maybe have the Waikoloa Wildfire Safety Advocates of Waikoloa come and do a presentation for you all based on the last few years that they've been working on their advocacy for this second road? And the only reason I'm asking that is because they've been through a lot of what you've listed and what you'd like to accomplish with your PIG. And I think everything from local to state individuals, the research that they've done, the documents that they've put before the county and the council. So I don't know if that's helpful to you or not, but I would offer that suggestion that maybe before you form the committee, it would be a good group for you to have maybe at a meeting, just a compliment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, actually, I've looked at their website, kind of check them out a little bit here and there. Yeah, and Julia was part of that before, right? Correct, I believe. And so, yeah, I do see that they have a lot of information. They've done news articles for not magazines, newspapers.
They have for civil meeting. And the only reason I'm suggesting it is, like, again, I sat on their board for a while. Julia is very good about attending their meetings regularly. I'm not saying the PIG is a bad idea by any means. I'm just wondering if it's at all helpful to maybe jumpstart what you want to accomplish by having them do a brief presentation of where they started and where they are now, some of the people that they've talked to, some of the information that they've had. And maybe at the same meeting, you want to have James there, who can also speak specifically about where the council is and how he feels like what the situation is in the present.
Oh no, all great points, I appreciate it, and I don't live in Waikoloa. I do work in Waikoloa, but these are the ones that
Oh, yeah.
are, yeah, you are the ones that have the most,
Passion.
the passion and the weight on it, you know.
You could still form your pig, if you
Yeah.
decide you wanna do that,
Well-
and then have them come and do it whatever way you decide is best for you. I just know they have a tremendous amount of information that maybe could be helpful.
Right, yeah, no, I just brought that up just because. In talking with with them individually, you know, that is the, main big thrust of. That's their main goal here, and, so I'd like to hear what you think about all this, whether we should form a pig or. Like Kendra says, do a little bit more research and. Have white flow, wildfire come in and, you know, present all their. Do a big presentation on that, so I'm asking for input on this.
I'd like to chime in, Mr. Chair, if I could speak.
Sure.
Thank you, Kendra. I appreciate that proposal. I'd like to make a recommendation letter to the mayor requesting, if with the help of planning, to have a draft of a letter requesting that the county provide an update on the status of the Waikoloa Second Access Road. And the only reason why I say that is because there had been communication from Ed Sniffen on their general plan, right? And they are coming up on budgets for the county. However, I haven't heard much about anything directly from the mayor in regards to the Second Access Road. In securing it to be paved, there's kind of question on who's going to pay the cost, and the mayor said this and Neil Azevedo said that, and then there was some backlash, you know, some questions from the attendees at the Waimea Community Association meeting. And so I'd like to just already go straight into the guts and say, we've done so many research, we've highlighted and had discussions in the past about Waikoloa wildfire doing the study or survey, and kind of highlight the other entities that had done studies or presentations before, because this started from way back when Tim Richards was running for county council. And so there has been, regarding the Department of Transportation, when it changed from that one lady, I forget her name, whatever. But it has changed multiple times. And I think we could just write a letter, a draft, to the county and the Department of Transportation requesting an update. So no need go form on PIG yet, and see what the update is for, so we can actually get some kind of action from them where it stands on either if it is a budget issue on finance and construct a second access road, or what is it, I don't know, association issue? I think it needs to be clarified first on, yeah, so I see Julia and I see Ruth shaking their heads, and they do
It's
have
not
much knowledge, right?
association.
But I think if we create a PIG, we're still not gonna get nowhere if we don't make a letter directly to the county and the mayor asking for an update. Do you know what I'm saying? Kind of like how we did the wildfire when we had the report given from, I don't know, whoever we asked for in the past. We had drafted a letter and they came to the next meeting and they kind of gave a report on it. Right? Because everything's so stagnant, and this has been going on for over 8 years, I think now. Well, possibly way before that. So I think other than one pig and a waste of time, I think we could get to the nitty gritty and have a draft letter from the planning to another planning on whatever Neil Azevedo plans to do with the public works or whatever his report was. Because it was a heavy discussion at the community association meeting. So if you could.
I would just offer one other suggestion on top of trustees, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
I would just say that in your letter, maybe you ask for clarification on the difference between what is the exit access road that's being built and the second road, so to speak. I think
Yes.
that would help you as well. I'm gonna pass the microphone to Councilmember Houston, who just walked in the door.
What's the question we're having right here? Sorry.
I actually have an answer to the question, so this little book I'm holding right here. It was signed by Harry Kim in his first, in 2008. That's 19 years ago. Right. And in it, the first priority in Michael Village was for a second access road. So it has been that way. Recently, we had a meeting over here and I think it's you were there, James. State is coming in. They're gonna do a study about an egress road to put in. And there was, you were at that meeting. That meeting was pretty contentious. Because it's like, well, there was a lot of talk about how if we're going to build something over that way. That's gonna be a one-way go out that's not really good, that's gonna cost a certain amount of money. So maybe if we got more money, and we actually did finally build what this community needed back in 2008. Now, the perspective on that is that this village has doubled in size since I've lived here, which is 30 years. And we have we are the only place on the island that there's a very large development, Waikoloa Heights, that on the book says they want to do 2,600 homes. I don't think it's gonna happen because I think they're having trouble, but anyway, we're already proud. When we wrote this book back in 2008, the intersection wasn't even an issue. You know, so, but otherwise, on the big picture, not much has changed, and particularly for us in our case about, and ours is a big, in the CDP, ours is the biggest ask. The ask from Waikoloa is the biggest ask.
So I'm just gonna clarify, Ruth, because my boss just walked in, so I want to make sure that he actually knows where we are in the conversation. And we're basically talking to James about the difference between the egress road, this million, the arterial road that everyone would like to have. Whether or not there was proper training for them to form now, as a soft policy. Or maybe they need to have a presentation from W Saw, who's done a lot of research, which is part of the main goals that South Development is. Or where they should go from here. Tricey suggested that at minimum, a letter should be written to the mayor, because we actually would like to have a letter of clarification. Where the mayor stands, where the county stands on the projects as they are.
Thank you. So a couple of things, Commissioner, on that one meeting, taking a step back, the one meeting there the other night with
State,
well, it was actually a county meeting.
yeah.
And that was specifically led by Civil Defense. And a contractor they had to do an evacuation study for the community. Those were funds that were no longer needed for Kilauea recovery funds. I believe that was the correct, and so they got reappropriated to be used as an evacuation study for Waikoloa Village. Where the meeting got contentious is because then other conversations came out about the egress road, but luckily there were representatives from state highways to speak about it. But the sole purpose of that meeting was about the evacuation study of Waikoloa Village. Of course, there, as you all know, as Waikoloa residents, there's a lot of passion and energy about additional infrastructure to support the community. So that was one thing to study. The state highways is doing an evacuation egress road. They're still going through the process. On the north end of the village, work with the landowners. The timeline now from Director Sniffen is to finish it all by the end of the summer. So that's what we're working with Goodfellow Brothers on all of that. There's still a piece where that's only the state commitment. There's a portion that would fall on county property. and WVA property, and the WVA is agreed as well as all those conversations, but. The county still needs to, we still need to figure out our commitment to connecting to that egress road, so there's still some pieces to figure out there. So it would be good, based upon, sorry for jumping in late, we got our council kind of late today, but. It would be good to request more information from administration to kind of see what is the path forward for this. A year ago. In the budget, I did appropriate $2.5 million to do planning and design of an arterial road for Waikoloa Village. So that sits in our capital improvement project list, our CIP list, our CIP capital budget. But those are what the council, hearing from community members that we approved to add to the capital budget. But it now the next step would fall on the executive side, the administration, to then allocate dollars to do the said work. But that's only for the plan design. You know, it's gonna cost upwards of $25 to $30 million to do a road. You know, like a 2-lane arterial road on the north end of the village. So there's work we still have to do. So it would be good to kind of get a better picture of who the administration is working with to, you know, the state piece, the county pieces, the engagement with the landowners from the executive side. So that's my recommendation on that. Hope that helps a little bit.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jillian?
I'd like to put a timeline on that because we've had 19 years of kicking the ball down the road. And I've got a record from 2017 in November where the CDP at that time, 3 of which members are sitting here currently, are all on there. And it was our request to have this second ulterior access road for Waikoloa bought up with the mayor, Kim, at the time, and with Michael Yee. And, you know, I think we need to get a timeline on when the county's gonna get back with us, because we should start a pig real soon, in my opinion. I mean, we just can't dilly-dally anymore. And to add to starting the pig, we don't have to look any further than the 2009 publication on page 107, strategy 1.1, finance to a community facilities district. Obviously, the county keeps saying they don't have any money. That's not gonna build a road saying we don't have any money. We don't have any money. We don't have any money. So I don't know. I kind of agree that we should, or I would propose that we should just start a pig in the meantime, because I'm feeling that we're not gonna get the desired outcome that we are expecting from the county and the planning department. And amen. I said my piece.
So. What do you think on that?
We can make a motion to do both. So we can
You
make a
want-
motion to start your pig, or you can make a motion to,
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is Ruth Smith. I'm not, real crazy about the, permitted interaction group. Maybe because, and Hugo was talking about, Kevin and she and I don't know how many times we sat at my dining room table and, you know, worked and then brought a plan and, because the very first meeting I went to for the action committee, I was on the steering committee for this CDB, but one was, they were talking about they had just done this, they were gonna they're gonna stop taking the trucks over the rickety bridge in Waimea, right? Waiaka? Waiaka Bridge, yeah. Yeah, in Waimea, right, and they were going to, this was my very first week, and then they were going to bring it through Waikoloa. Well, people were testy, you know, and then somewhere along the line, magically, the bridge was okay to go over, and that went away. But it was at that meeting that the subcommittee that Kevin and Julia and I, that was when we started to do that meeting. So there has been, I guess I get a little frustrated. We've had a tremendous amount of time together, a tremendous amount of information. The geography has not changed. The need has increased. And I'm sort of like moving more into my hippie, let's go protest mode. I mean, I'm not sure what it's going to take. I mean, James, maybe, I know you do a lot, but strategically, what you don't want to do is tick off the politicians so they'll never listen to you again. That's very important. But in some way, I don't see this as a Waikoloa issue. I see it really absolutely 100% as a South Kohala issue. At the very least, a full South Kohala, Kauai High benefits, Puako benefits. Why do they have benefits, for heaven's sake?
I think it's a county issue, and I think chapter 32 is where we need to start, and I've solicited Pete Hoffman, our former county council person, to see if we can try to work that through if we do have a pig. Because that's also listed right in our old CDP book on page 107. It's the #1 thing for strategy to get this done. And we've ignored it. It's never been done. It's gonna
Yep.
take a lot of fortitude. It's not gonna be easy, according to what he tells me. We're gonna have to hire an outside person to work with us, somebody in California. But at this point, we don't have any other options. And I don't think we ever will. We'll always be neglected.
This guy's called Townscape.
So do you think that a pig would be better than a letter? Or what would be the best approach for our action?
Well,
basically.
I think it's a dual phase thing. We need to get the truth serum from the county on what they feel, what their timelines are, because I'm not hearing anything warm and fuzzy that anything's going to happen. I heard that there's going to be 2 ulterior roads, and that's it. That's all. You got 3 roads now. I mean, that was something I saw from somebody on a Facebook post from the mayor. So I don't think that, I think he thinks that's sufficient, but I don't know what the planning department is gonna say about it, so we need to give a month or 2-month timeline to get answers to it. And I know that, the wildfire advocates of Waikoloa have got a lot of background and, history on what the county is telling them. And I believe that they would probably kind of agree with what I'm saying, that we're not getting what we need done. So, and we need the letter and we need to start a pig, in my opinion. It's gotta be a 2-faced beast.
Okay.
Scott, may I
Go ahead.
comment? So for a letter, I think the timeline is we have to draft a letter, but that has to come back to a meeting for us to review and approve a letter to be sent. Is that right? Or is there a shorter path?
So Corporation Council has made it that like you guys, their interpretation is that you guys could like verbally draft the letter, and then we can, and everybody votes on it in this meeting, and then chair will sign something that aligns with what was described in the meeting today.
So that's broad. I like that. That's good.
That's what we have been
So,
doing in the past as the chair, sorry to interrupt. And that's how those other letters from our other past meetings that's transpired from January. So there has been that 3 meetings, same process when we proposed the update for the library or the community center to be built. That's all. There is a process, Kevin.
Yeah.
That not necessarily you guys are
Okay.
part of, but as the unit, as the chair and the vice chair, we get access and updates on how that's done.
great. And I wonder, do we have proposed members for a permitted interaction group?
Not yet, because we didn't decide to.
Yeah, we haven't
We have to-
decided.
we have to, so we would make a motion to create the group and then make another motion to
For members of that group.
set the members. It's 2, okay. I just want to understand the parameters of the motion.
Yeah, you create
It would be
the
2 different motions, because the business item is specifically talking about permitted and interaction group. I'm not too sure how much leeway we can get away with actually drafting this letter. I would say it's like related to the topic, to the item. But something also is that with the permitted interaction group, then the 2 to 4 members that sign up for this group, then you guys can kind of work on your own to make and ask these questions and get these answers on behalf of the AC. So you don't necessarily need to do both. You can just do the permitted interaction group, and then those members start working together to get those different pieces of information. Yeah.
Forgive me for asking the question, I've forgotten.
No, go.
It seems it's different than the subcommittee, right? So for the permitted interaction group, do we have to provide like a charter? And when we create the group, or is it just a topic and then they can go and investigate and report back?
It's,
Yeah, so you're just gonna create the scope,
Okay,
and then you're gonna vote on the members that are gonna be part of it.
Yeah.
And then that's it for this meeting, and then you'll have 2 subsequent meetings at an undefined later date. There's no timeline. The second meeting is when you guys are ready to give a report to the committee of your discoveries and, your recommendations. No action is held during that meeting, and then that third meeting, again, that's where the committee decides and reviews and makes a decision based off the recommendation of the PIC.
great. So then if I'm understanding you correctly, the permitted interaction group could send the letter to the mayor asking for the information.
Yeah.
So that would be within their scope, and we don't have
Yeah.
to then. We could say
As
them
long
to-
as you're defining it in those, that's who you guys are.
Okay.
That you guys could reach out in that way, yeah.
Okay.
If you want it on a South Kohala CDP letterhead, then we would need to vote as a group.
Okay. So I think if I understand correctly, that we should probably move to create the permitted interaction group. To research, to get current status and possibly get a calendar if some more additional information than what's out there right now. And a path to how to get it completed in a certain time frame. And determine potential actions that this committee can make. So does that sound right about?
Yep.
Okay.
You guys can define how, if you want to add or subtract things to the committee.
This is Ruth Smith again.
Yes.
So my concern is that everybody that sits on this action committee is a volunteer. And they have time limits, okay? I don't really, I mean, I look and I think, well, we're gonna go talk about and do further research. I mean, remember I showed you, this is my real book. I found it
Yeah.
when I was cleaning up.
Okay.
This is my real book. I was just showing the other little stuff. I didn't even know it because I cleaned my closet. But this has just been going on for a long time. We have a ton of information. I'm wondering, and James, I was thinking about asking you though, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not tracking everything. You probably are through your CIP budget already
This.
for the count, yeah.
No, we haven't even begun really the budget amendment process. We've just received the first draft of the budget from the mayor for the next fiscal year. And council will be going to the budget process phase starting in April, where we engage with departments. And then in May, we start amending the budget or what have you. Yeah. We have to adopt the budget by the end of June for the next fiscal year.
Okay, and if there's not an item in that budget that includes something about either the egress, second exit,
Mhm.
or but is there any way that the action I'd like to take as a committee member is to talk to them and see, like, because as Julia keeps saying, this comes back to the county. Well, this is the county. And if that, I'm not sure what it's going to take for them. I don't know. I know what you, we know what about you, but you have other people who work with you and they have their own things in their own districts. So I just think we need to be doing something a little more direct.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the letter is good. And I think the action committee ought to take some action.
So your question, sorry. So you're asking for something a little bit more direct. So the amendment that I gave in the budget last year for this current fiscal year,
Mhm.
that sits on the capital budget list. Any item that is added to the budget list, the capital budget list, sits on there for 3 years before it lapses, and then you can reappropriate it. And I've done that on a couple projects from Senator Richards when he was council member. Some things just fall off because it's a priority from community like yourselves. You're talking about an arterial road for Waikoloa Village or other projects, but sometimes they don't rise to the occasion as a priority for administration for whatever reason. And often the case may be it's financial, as Julia has talked about. And I'll be very clear with you that it's going to be an issue as well for us going forward, because the county is investing and will need to invest about $1 billion over the next 10 years in wastewater treatment facilities. So that's the hurdle that we face in the districts that don't directly benefit from the wastewater treatment upgrades and the mandates from the state and the mandates from the federal government on improving those facilities. So that's what we're up against. So we're limited on the flexibility on other capital budget dollars for all the districts, for all the other projects that are on the list. So whether you pursue a letter, just, asking for information, or you establish a permitted interaction group to seek out more information, regardless, I think all those things are community members engaging with administration, engaging with people that are going to make those decisions to be like, this is still an important issue. And it's been an important issue for a long time for community. I recognize that. I mean, that's why I put it in the capital budget last year. So it just need to kind of keep that engagement going, if that makes sense. But if you're thinking about something else, I'm not sure what you have in mind. If there's something else you have in mind, Ruth.
I think Julie wants to say something.
So
Julia,
I just wanted to redirect, and I had bought it to back up in the September, November meeting, the chapter 32, which is also outlined in the finance through the Community Facilities District, the FCD, CFD, which I discussed with Pete Hoffman at length a number of times. And unfortunately, he was unable to attend tonight because I brought the agenda to his attention. But it's just a way where we can try to get financing. We can go through all this and get financing where it's not actually through the county. The county has to agree to it and pay it over time. I don't know if any other district in recent time has ever used this tool that's in the county quiver, because it is part of chapter 32 in the ordinances for the county. Would you be aware of that, James?
Thanks, Commissioner Alos. Yeah, the Community Facilities District, Chapter 32, to my knowledge, it's only been used once. And it's being used currently in a project, Coloco Heights, I believe that area is. So Community Facilities District is a financial kind of mechanism, financing tool for a developer to fund a project, and they put it on the backs of the purchasing and the buyout of those properties over time. And then there's some, responsibility of funds to go towards that project. So it's a financing tool for wastewater, sewer and treatments, road infrastructure that's going to benefit the community at length. And so we only have one that's active at the moment. That's, the landowner to the north in Waikoloa Village is, considering that, and they've kind of engaged with the county to that length, but that's a negotiating thing that the finance department is doing with that, and the mayor and the administrative team with that landowner and those sort of things. But if you're thinking about, so that really falls on one landowner to do that, to kind of pursue that financial mechanism to go after a big scale project to cover the cost of that. There's also special improvement districts. I think you're familiar with some of that too, where the burden is bared by more of the community to fund that project. And it can extend beyond one TMK. And that's that was a proposal, I think Councilmember Richards, you know, he proposed that, and it's a cost that the village residents would have to bear for it. But that usually isn't it's not always a great selling point sometimes for additional taxes and those sort of things, but those are some of the mechanisms out there.
Right. That was actually addressed in our CDP book, and it was prior to Tim Richards when Mayor Kim was in office,
Yeah.
and he did come to Waikoloa, and people were way up in arms, but the cost was so negligible. It was really
But it was like
nothing. It was-
$11 back then, right?
It was 100 or 300 or something, and then they had a price for all the condos. And then they had the big guns for the new developments, which would be perfect now because it was like adding $3,000 or $4,000 a year to real property tax on all the new homes that were getting built here. So we got all these years of not collecting that, and I don't know how we get it passed nowadays, but anyway, it looks nice on paper.
And just to answer, yeah, to go back to your question, Commissioner, it's the CFDs really, it hasn't been used that much. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a mechanism that it really falls on the developer to like take that up and be like, this is what I want to pursue. You know, these are the assessments that I'm going to put on the deeds and on these homes as they build it out and subdivide it. But yeah.
All right. Thank you. I didn't realize it was only for developers, the way that Mr. Hoffman was explaining it to me. Sorry if I misunderstood him. I'll speak to him. Thank you. Chair.
The Puako community has been thinking about community facilities districts, but they've had some back for their sewer improvement. We've had that conversation here in the past and how to fund that project. And they've been
Mhm.
thinking about a community facilities district, but the way it's worded in chapter 32, it kind of paints them in a corner a little bit. So they're trying to figure out if we need to amend that chapter. Been having a number of conversations about that too. See if it could
Okay.
open up a little bit further. Hasn't been recommended by Corp Council, but you know, yeah.
Hello.
Thank you, James.
Anything more on that from any of you? Okay, so this is a
So without a specific motion, we would just table that and continue, I think, right?
sorry.
Without a specific motion, we'll just table that.
Someone can motion
Do we have a motion on the table?
if we.
Well,
had-
I was,
We do?
yeah,
No, we don't. I didn't think we don't
No.
have a motion on the table,
Okay.
so we can move on.
so we can just continue to discuss this and look at our best option, but best use of time and efforts there. Okay.
But Scott, you're the one. who did-
Do we
propose this?
do a letter though? Or, yeah, maybe we do a letter right now and then.
Well,
What do you
I think, well, yeah, sure. Is that could we get away with a letter or it's close enough to the
Yeah,
agenda?
just to
Okay.
request the current status and the road forward there. And anything that we could do to help move that along.
If I could add one thing to the letter, I know that there were onuses that were put on certain developments, i.e. Sunset Ridge and the Castle and Cook, where they were supposed to build a road that goes all the way to Hulu, which would take off some of the traffic, but it would be another road out. And then Inalea was also supposed to do something. I don't know where the county is in with development of discussing new project with the new owners, or what might be percolating around, but maybe it's time to test the waters and see if there's other things the county's talking about behind closed doors with other future developers that we might want to know about, where they're resurfacing what prior landowners onuses they had to build roads. Because I know that there was one for Inalea that was supposed to go down to Montalani with that elementary school, remember that? So, but I don't know, I mean, do we add that into the letter? Do we get really deep and long so we have some legs to stand on moving forward on? I don't know.
I don't
I'm just
think we should
bringing it up.
convolute it. I think we should just stick to one main subject, and the matter is on page 107.
Is
Or
that
one,
okay?
yeah, I think,
Alright.
Yeah, straight to the point and hold them accountable for something. That's just my opinion.
Trustee, do you want to draft the letter?
No, we actually use,
No, I'm asking.
oh,
I
me?
mean, I'm not pressuring you. See, when you have an idea, that's why you
The-
do it.
Oh, it's actually
We will
Scott's.
discuss what we
whoever
want the
put it
letter to
out.
say.
That's
And
correct.
then
Right.
the county staff will
Yeah.
work with the chair and
Yeah.
the vice chair to
And
draft
then
the letter for us.
Draft
We
it
don't
and
have-
then bring it
nobody-
to you,
yeah.
bring it to
Correct.
everybody. And then go from there. So, so I move that we create uh, a letter to the mayor's office, uh, outlining our concerns and for, what the path is for this completion and, the current status, how we're moving forward on that. So,
Is
yeah.
that for both the egress road and the arterial road?
This
Yeah,
doesn't say.
Just asking.
The motion is to follow up on page 106 of the 2008 Plan 5.3 Action Program for Waikoloa #1. What is the current status and the need for the action? So the current status of the Waikoloa Second Access Road, connecting road to Queens
Second
Bay
access road.
Highway.
Right here. That was the job.
Okay.
And that would be
for
to
second.
the mayor and the director of planning?
Planning director, yeah, that would be good. And
And so James, would it be,
Depart-
would the council want to see that or no?
okay,
Didn't
You know,
answer it.
well, I'm talking about all the council members. No? The chair. I'm just,
That's called,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't hurt, but you're looking for more information.
No, okay. Yeah.
Department of Public Works too, maybe,
Mhm.
since they're gonna build the road. Since they would, just to include you, because don't want everybody to,
Who's gonna, yeah, who's gonna be us
yeah,
mentioned in the response
Yeah.
to the mayor's
A
office?
courtesy
okay.
copy.
So, okay, so that's
I'll second the motion.
okay, I need a second. Okay, and all in favor for that? Drafting the
Aye.
letter? Okay. You're okay? Okay. All right. All right, well, moving on. To number 4,
Oh, number 3.
3. Where did I miss 3?
Mhm.
Okay, sorry.
We've been on 2
For a while here. Okay, so number 3. Possible creating a Waikoloa Development Permitted Interaction Group. Committee will deliberate creating a permitted interaction group to investigate processes and procedures for development projects in Waikoloa. The PIG scopes will be determined during the meeting. If there's any public testimony on that. And we can kind of discuss that if you want to do that. There are several developers developing. I did send one over to you that you were asked about.
Yeah, get it, Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That one is the Brown development. I can't remember what they call it now. But that one is where are we? Okay. Over there somewhere. Okay. But that's by opposite of Makanakai development, and you can see a lot of earth being moved around there right now. It includes condos. I did kind of question that in the description it does have four-story condos. I always thought that the island had a three floor capped. Is that incorrect? I don't know. Do you know, James or Kendra?
Height,
Yes, it had.
height restrictions.
It had.
Like
I
why?
thought it was 3 floors, but
Hawaii has it. I don't think we have it. But I don't know.
That's right.
But in Hilo, you have, I think there's some that are 6-story.
But that was before they started looking at that, so that was grandfathered in.
Ah,
Yeah, there are height restrictions for, and certain communities can kind of set them too. Based on some guidance, but yeah, it would speak countywide for sure, but I don't have that specific answer. It would definitely be a question for building division.
Yeah.
DPW.
So, but yeah, in their website, on the description of the condos, they had four floor condos on there. They had an industrial park too, as well, and some it comes in phases. Apparently, it started this February, and they're working on opening up the building 3 condos initially. So that's right off the Waikolo Road. So just anyway, that's one of them. Of course, there's the other end of Waikoloa that is happening slowly. There's also a public housing that condo group that just opened up theirs.
What is the,
And
what is your goal for creating this pig? Is it awareness or is it?
just
I-
aware, yeah, finding out, keeping the public aware of these things, because it does seems like they just pop up and people are just like, where did this come from, kind of thing.
So what does Waikoloa Village Association do? Do they have a team? I'm asking Julia, no?
Well, not really. The association
Yeah.
is like responsible for they're beholden to the homeowner, the owners, the members. So they don't really get involved with government stuff. I'm sure Roger reaches out and talks to them and knows things, but I don't know. Kevin was a board member. He can speak more to it, but I don't think that the WVA is really a police or a guard or anything like that.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right, Kevin?
Yeah, these developments that you're talking about are not part of the association.
I see,
All right.
understood.
mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
none of
so
them.
there isn't a group that kind of monitors that then. But just for example, okay, so I have been talking with the principal at Waikoloa a little bit, and just kind of finding out things here and there, her concerns and everything about, because a big concern is like these developments coming up and not saying anything to her or the schools or Department of Education saying, look, you're going to have 300 extra kids this next year and just spring it on her, kind of thing. Whereas some planning on that issue could help her plan for staffing the following year, kind of thing. But when it's just sprung on them, they're in a panic because they don't have the capacity there. That's just one thing. The other thing is like water. Where are they getting this water? Is this, going to stretch the water supplies that Waikoloa has? That's Waikoloa, no, excuse me, no, Hawaii Water Services. Are they supplying it, or is county supplying the water? Like all the utilities, the wastewater, which would be also Hawaii Water Services. But is that going to stretch their capacities?
What if we ask planning department, Miriam, if you could get some feedback, what if we could ask planning department to provide I guess wherever the development is happening now, do you guys, Miriam, have access to those documents? I guess and the reason why I'm asking is because it says here, on page 108, in regards to 2 of the major development companies that are proposing new luxury home projects in the area, Bridge Company and the developer of the Waikoloa Highlands project, Waikoloa Mauka LLC. And so how did you guys get that, Ruth? How did you guys get that information? Where do you guys?
It's been on the books. It's been on the books. It's in the chapter. It's been on the books from the planning department, but to Scott's quest for trying to find out information, isn't that what the Leeward Planning Commission does? Don't
And
they
that's why
review
I'm
all this
asking,
stuff?
so that That's why I would
You know, we
ask.
could get the reports from them. They're the ones who go through all the minutia of all this development and everything. I mean, that should be common for us to be able to get access to water and
So we would,
zoning
the
and.
planning department, thank you, Julia, for your response. And so I would say, well, okay, Miriam, can you reach out to Leeward Planning Commission to provide us an update on the new development or on the new request from developers seeking building permits or whatever the case is? Is that, Scott, something that you're asking? I just tried
Yes,
to
I
narrow
mean,
down. If you're gonna
I
do
don't know where to get the information.
everywhere.
I've never seen anybody bring that up. I
Leeward
mean, if it
planning.
is, it's just in somebody's book somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not being brought out to people to actually see. And so I didn't know where to look for that resource. If the planning commission, Leeward Planning Commission has that information, maybe we should have them come.
I agree. I agree with that.
Or
Oh,
I guess they
absolutely.
can't come, but at least one, one representative from there. They can't come as a planning commission.
Well,
But,
I've got a
They
guy.
have
that's-
it on their website, all the monthly meetings or quarterly meetings. We can look it up. I mean, you know, it's
Michael
not
sits on the
private.
Leeward Planning. He lives in Waikoloa. I can ask him to come and do one report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on the board.
Yeah, but he wouldn't know necessarily if it's not on the books, right? So I gotta ask, how do they clarify who submitted requests and all this stuff? So, I mean,
so you have to have an official request then? Is that what it?
well,
you're
if
saying?
there is a letter for something, at least if we could ask, we could ask planning, why not help us out? They're part of the same planning chain.
Okay.
Right? So make the request to, I don't know, planning department director and say, hey, can we have a Leeward commissioner come to our next update meeting? Put the agenda item, but a specific, like development or what you're asking for, because there's tons of things, right, James? So you gotta kind of narrow down where you're asking for growth, because your growth can be anywhere in your whole Waikoloa complex, I should say. Right? So kind of narrow it down. If it's gonna be north of Paniolo Drive, south of Paniolo Drive, east of Waikoloa Access, I don't know how you're gonna define the area, but at least kind of,
EMKs.
there you go. Follow
Are we
the,
looking for
maps.
information on specific developments, or this says more about the process? And
Yeah.
the feedback you had, Scott, was about the specific feedback about the school was interesting. Like, is the load on the local schools considered, and how are the schools notified? Are we looking
Yeah,
for
because
process and information or
she
specific
actually
developments?
just roams the neighborhood. She kind of goes through the neighborhood and sees like, oh, there's a new development here. She walks up to the guys working there, is asking all these questions about it. Where it'd be a lot better if she would actually, get it from the information from the horse's mouth, basically. More accurate, probably. So yeah, so that's why I'm bringing all this up. But if there's, like you said, there's an organization, Leeward Planning Commission, then that's where we need to go on that. Or I don't know if that needs to be a what do you call it, permitted pig then. So, but just an invite to the Planning Commission to come in and talk about those.
Scott, I think what you're referring to, it was addressed during the Roth administration prior, when the principal of Waikoloa Elementary School was not aware of the affordable housing that was opened up, and it was brought to their attention, and that was with the housing department in the county that hadn't informed her, and it was quite an embarrassing situation. It was a meeting at the school, and I don't believe that that'll ever happen again with the school. I mean, she brought it up and said all of a sudden kids just showed up, and the county had forgot to tell her that they were opening it up. And so I'm sure she's now on the radar and is being tapped for, and most of the stuff that's coming up right now is all affordable housing, and then the Kohala and, the other things that are coming up, the new development that should be opening up in a few months. I don't know. But I know she's been made aware of it, but I know planning, LPC, the commission should have it. And and there's signs up too. I mean, whenever there's development going up, I mean, there's signs that the county has to post. So I don't know. I mean, we pretty much have a lot of knowledge for these things.
I'm trying to test my memory. It feels like I went to a Waimea community meeting, and Julia, I think you might have been there too. And they had the people who were like even kind of thinking about doing something. They had a subcommittee that received the information and they were able to know about it ahead of time. Am I crazy or do you? And but the reason I think you were there is we said, I wish we had one of those, you know,
It
or
was,
we had
Oli.
something when we,
wa-
you know.
It was the Oli project that's off of Kohala Road and will ultimately go in behind Hapuna, the development, the homes. But that's the farm lot stuff.
Okay. Mario, did you have anything on that?
Sure. So when it comes to, yeah, so I want to go back to what Kevin's question was. Are we talking about the process or specific developments? Because those are two very different things and both involve a multitude of agencies and not just planning, DPW, and then your state agency, and even housing, right? Housing was mentioned earlier. And so even just within planning, we receive a nice grand variety of the types of applications that can be received, and only a certain amount of those actually go to Planning Commission. There's still like a whole bunch of other ministerial type of applications, like your variances and your subdivisions, that they won't go to commission. And so you won't get that like public notice. And then even with those planning commission applications, a lot of times those are like your special permits, your use permits, your SMA majors, your rezones and things of that nature and while that like gives entitlements to the parcel for whatever the developer or applicant has in mind, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's getting built immediately or anything of that. So if we're looking for something that's like timely, then that might not also be the best route of what we're talking about. And then I feel like based off of previous conversations, I was hearing like more specific asks to the process was being asked earlier, requirements that could be put on applicants through the different types of applications. I think was another thing that Scott, you had mentioned at another point. And so that leads more to this process type versus tracking of developments and that nature. I mean, they're both, easily related, but because one speaks to like, I guess I've had other action committees that are really prioritizing planning departments' public notice procedures. And so they've taken a stab at of even drafting amendments to code and some of our rules on how we do that. And like Hamaku, I believe, is the lead on that, and others have joined in. And maybe the committee's focus isn't the public notice side, maybe it's some of the requirements that are being put, and maybe there's things that could be changed in that nature. So I think maybe that's another something I'm not clear yet, what you guys are interested in.
Well, it'd be nice to know exactly what a development is actually going to do. I think Kevin brought up like for the Waikolo Road one, that one from Brown Company. They should probably look into having a dedicated turn lane right there. Just because of the amount of traffic, and if that's included in the requirements for that plan or not. So,
And so then I guess
I'm-
for that Brown development, they're already entitled, right? Is that what we already? They were.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that kind of, but like those are definitely things that the committee could be flagging and putting in, like these requests or these comments towards, even for things that don't go to commission. Because we've had other committees provide testimony for subdivisions that's director, it's kind of handled in-house, but the committees still provide public comment to it because there is always a public comment period. And that just maintains internal, and then the director kind of keeps that into consideration in his decision making. So those are like, maybe is the question like, what are the types, where's the moment or opportunity for comment? Or are we looking at these types of developments? We want there to be something in code that requires turn lanes, and whether that's lives within DPW or with planning, I mean, we can figure that out in time, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure all that's on there. I mean, I remember when Greg Brown was trying to build up Malka on Mamalahoa Highway in 2019, and we saw all that information in the South Kohala Traffic Safety Committee meetings on what he was trying to do with the road. And I think I've seen some things about Waikoloa Road. They were talking about possibly a roundabout. That's for this development now. And that was years ago. And most often developers will come to meetings and with Waikoloa Village Association. So the community will get to know about what their project is. I mean, AES has come a few times with the solar farms, and other people have, I mean, you know, they've done it too, but I don't know. I'm just throwing in what I've seen in my 24 years here with developers. It's pretty easily accessed, or they're accessible to talk to anyway too. So they want the community to like them.
Okay. Okay, well, I don't know. Is that something anybody is interested in? If not, then I'll just move on. But personally, I'm interested in, I have no idea where to get this information. For the Brown thing, I keep bringing this up, but for Brown thing, I had no idea it was coming in until I saw their little water tank pop up. That was the first that I heard of anything on that one. So I don't know where to get that information. But that was actually the water tank has a website on it. That's how I found it. So, but that's,
So did we not just talk about having leeward planning? Let us know. I'm just asking, wasn't that one of the things we just discussed about having leeward planning when things are coming to them that they,
give us
Give
a heads up.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, like the community a heads up, you know, that would be
Planning
nice.
Commission has their own email listserv where they blast all the applications that are coming through and
Okay.
reaching the commission.
It's by, okay. Did you say it's by region?
There's no, well, the entire Leeward Commission and then the
Exactly.
Leeward Commission. So yeah, they maintain two distinct listservs. Email. Yeah. Correct, but my understanding also is that planning commission applications, once they are accepted, they are posted publicly. And so that's a piece of what Hamakua AC is prioritizing, because right now code only requires the department to post it in the newspaper. And as a courtesy, we post it on our website as well, but it is a literal newspaper clipping on our website. And so Hamakua AC is working to kind of with Director Darrow to bring us up to current times and to create email listservs for the different applications and as they come in, and not just 6 days right before the meeting and things like that. So that's in the works, along with some stuff and outreach material from the IT department and things like that to help kind of spread that awareness. But I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
I think that in the cases where I've wanted to find information about approved applications, I've been able to find it. So I think the information is public and is findable if you know where to look, I guess, right? You can go
Yeah,
look
you
at the
need to know
Leeward
where you're
Planning
looking.
Commission.
I have no idea the kind of thing on a lot of those things that, like I said, it just kind of popped up there. And I'm not in government or anything like that. I mean, I'm a committee, but you know, I'm not in the office.
I
So,
think the piece of this is that we could share the communications that have gone between Hamakua and planning and see how the committee, you know, if they have any more to add or any other pieces to it that you guys can do outside of the meeting.
Dave.
Just because it's on your radar, I guess if you're taking us a longer term view, Julia had mentioned, but didn't include them. We had a group from Waikoloa Greens which is what was Highlands. So it's the northeast corner of Waikoloa Road and Paniolo. So there's a group that's, proposing to do some development there. So it's a long range thing. And they're, they've come and notified us as part of the village association. They've been out there. I think they just had something that went through public comment period for some changes potentially to zoning. So more just for information, if you're interested in, that's another one you might want to put on your radar as a group to look at and start monitoring as to what they're doing down the road. So it's under Waikoloa Greens, it's the
Greens.
development group.
That's what it's called, Waikoloa Green Scout. I have
Committee.
heard that. I've just forgotten about it.
So what I was getting at is I think notifying the public is challenging. So I fully support the Hamakua initiative, CDPAC's initiative to have the postings be required to be on the website, right? That would be better than a newspaper and relying on it being posted as a courtesy. But Scott, the other thing you mentioned about the requirements. So we have had a couple of developments come in on Waikoloa Road and they were not required to put in turn lanes. And it occasionally is quite a problem, especially the asphalt or whatever the plant is that's down the road on a nice downhill slope, and there's suddenly a turn where trucks are stopped waiting to turn. Right? It was a big mistake not to require a turn lane for that that driveway. So I think it would be good to know or suggest, and this would be James on your side, I think, not on the mayor, on the executive side, to add a requirement for turn lanes for developments on Waikoloa Road.
Here.
It's challenging. The action committees have a little bit of a challenge because sometimes your schedule doesn't meet with the Leeward Planning Commissions in terms of the timing of when you want to submit testimony. But I do recommend that you as members, individual members, you track the Leeward Planning Commission and kind of see what they're working on in that week leading up to them when they have that public notice period for the agenda. But it is challenging. I recognize collectively coming together, your meetings don't always align. You're not able to get out some solid testimony. So it is also good to work with the HOAs. The South Kohala Traffic Safety Committee has a little bit more flexibility because they're not like a government sort of group, some more semi-autonomous, if at all, not even connected, but we had the flexibility. We also received, when I served on that group, to testify on things. And so, for an example, with the church up above the intersection, we testified, wrote comments through the process. You need a turn lane, and sometimes the feedback comes, oh, well, it doesn't hit that criteria of vehicles entering or exiting during peak hours, all those sort of things, right? So sometimes those thresholds in planning won't meet that, but it's still good to get that information of like, hey, community, this action committee, we see there's a need here, and at least submit those comments so that the Leeward Planning Commission can make a determination, and then kicks up to council making a determination. At least that is being heard at large from community. So I hope that helps a little bit, but I recognize that, those things, and through my work, definitely want to hear from community about what is needed in those spaces. So thanks, Kevin.
I mean, we all have the planning commission or the planning department is common to both of us. We are the CDP and they are the LPC or the, Windward Planning Commission. I mean, can't it all be housed under the planning department to make sure that they get stuff from Leeward Planning to the certain CDPs and the districts? I mean, that'd be a no-brainer, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Just
maybe
saying.
we should collaborate or support the Hamakua CDPAC's initiative.
Yeah,
We could wait to see
notice.
if they've created, they've
Island wide.
researched.
Sorry, what was that?
We could wait what Miriam shared, that providing Hamakua's research and stuff and see where they are at, and then jump on board and follow the same process.
seems redundant for every district to have to go through that if it's everybody's, I mean, it should just come from planning. I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. Okay, so I think, what do we do on this? Table it right now? Okay, so
So
we're
we
just
got
gonna
further
table this.
information, if that's okay. For
Is that
planning,
all right?
proposed plan, then we can define and cross-reference what your intentions is for the pig and kind of look at Hamakua's scope.
Okay. I will, I'm gonna try and clear this up a little bit and see if we can get a better route for communications.
And invite the principal from the school to come to one of these and ask in person what is her actual intent to find out too, to help you. You know, that there is an action committee process, there's a process for public comment and testimony. Invite her and whoever she has if they want to say anything on this subject matter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna table this for now and work on this a little bit more. Next one is for Owana. Yeah, Owana, she is working on she's furthering emergency preparedness efforts. She's contacting hotels and I've kind of jumped in there a little bit previously too. And so we located almost 3,000 capacity for Waimea and Waikoloa. Waikoloa just has the school though, and she's working on
Capacity, I'm lost.
like if like the tsunami.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
very familiar with that.
yeah, so civil defense actually didn't even open up the school here. That kind of just happened organically. And
It didn't happen organically.
Yeah.
Pete Hoffman called me and got me down to the school with the Grand Master.
yeah,
And I opened everything up. And people
Yes.
poured in hundreds of them. And then people said,
20 years ago.
yeah, it was, yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, it wasn't. And then the resorts closed, so they pushed everybody up to here and into Waimea. And so in talking with all those organizations that actually did accept them, they weren't officially shelters. So I did ask them what they needed and if they would be willing to serve as shelters too. So there are plenty up there that plenty of private organizations that will open up their doors for any evacuation that's required from the bottom here, from the
It's the only thing of any size. here.
yeah. Yeah, so, but there's several churches up there that open up the doors, HPA opened up the doors, Parker opened the doors. Some of the other ones that weren't used but would be willing to be is the Kanu, Hawaiian Hall, Department of Hawaiian Homes up there in Waimea on that side. So we do have more capacity than what they did to open up. They only opened up the Waimea Community Center, which still needs to be re-roofed at this point. And we got to figure out something on that. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do on that because they did say that it was under capital improvement projects, but that's pretty fluid there. So I'm not sure. But we'll talk about that more when we're on Waimea next time.
Here, Julia has her hand up.
I just wanted to ask, I know what, after 9 or 10 years of working with the CDP, I don't know why we're segueing into the emergency preparedness efforts or getting involved in anything like that. We've got CERT, we've got county civil defense, we've got all these other things. I think we have under the purview of a community development planning action committee, there's bigger fish to fry than worrying about the emergency preparedness stuff. I mean, you got HISPA at all the resorts. So I'm just asking why it's come to the fore. I mean, Tristy, you HISPA and all the emergency things. I mean, is that really something that should be on our radar for the CDP? I'm
I don't-
not understanding where the
I don't know. I
connection is.
wasn't at the last meeting when she had proposed this as an agenda item. My
Yeah.
apologies for that. But I know a lot of the resorts did not kick out their guests. And so I need
I
to
do too.
clarify who and what she's really asking of, or is it because she wants more emergency preparedness offered for funding in the community? I don't know what this agenda item came from. I don't know if Scott, you know anything why this item came up, but I know through the HLTA, they really, I mean, they didn't kick out anybody, right? So they were concerned. They know that there was entities available. I think a lot of the people that was not able to was new guests that just landed, didn't get to
Right.
check in on time, had to go somewhere for the night and wait to check in. I think that was the
Right.
issue, but no hotel or resort area, especially if they were out of the zone to evacuate to higher ground for the tsunami, they weren't impacted at all. So I think we need more clarification on what she's asking in
Right.
regards to an update on emergency preparedness efforts.
Yeah, because I mean, when Civil Defense came to that meeting a few months ago, he said, as long as you're up on Queen Kahumanu, you're out of the zone. You didn't need to go to shelter or do this or do that. I mean, technically, because I was working for the one in Waikoloa, but I just don't see where it's all, we've got Red Cross, we've got, CERT, we've got Civil Defense, we've got a lot of ammunition in our, in the quiver. So
Yeah.
I don't understand why
Well, it just kind
CDP
of
is
goes back.
involving themselves in this.
Yeah.
It's just, it kind of feels like I don't know.
It kind of goes back to the situation there, the tsunami last year.
Yeah.
And CERT wasn't mobilized to help
I
out either.
realize, yeah.
And these places that opened up their doors, they were never contacted by Civil Defense. So we're working, helping Oana with this and to try and create direct lines of communication with what do you call it, Civil Defense, because it just didn't happen.
Right. Well, because he was saying that everybody should have just had to go. They weren't clear in their
Yeah.
messaging that all you had to do was go up to Queen Kahumanu, which he said in our meeting. So, they need to get their messaging clear, but I don't think we should be creating all this stuff in the
extra
CDP.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, we have a lot more important things. You're worried about your roof in your community center going down, you have 2 community centers up in Waimea. We don't even have one, but we have all this, I looked at PBR's thing.
Well,
It's been in our books for 20 years. We don't even have a community center here. So, I mean, that would be a great pig to start, getting
Well,
that kind of stuff.
yeah, in gathering all this information about the community's evacuation center, the possibilities and capabilities, that goes to the proposal for a Waimea community center, an additional one at the district park. And this was somewhat in response to that, to show that the community already has that capability to have to evacuate people there in the Waimea community. So doing another, it's the next phase of the district park, shouldn't actually be the priority. Priority should be the Waikoloa Community Center.
Correct.
I think we should table this discussion because she would provide the update to committee on her efforts. So she hasn't provided us nothing yet. So I think we should table this to the next meeting.
Yeah. I mean, she's not here, so we'll just, but she is working on some things like this, so yeah, we'll hear it on our next meeting. Just move to the next one is public testimony on matters is not on the agenda.
No,
Number 5.
Do I keep skipping? I'm sorry.
5, number 5.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. I'm excited to go to the next one. Update on the draft of the general plan for 2045. The draft general plan is currently under review by county council, and the planning department staff will provide an update. So, Mariam.
Yeah, so I guess that's the last update last year. General plan is with council right now. They just met, maybe was it last week? Councilmember Kirkowitz introduced a amendment to our draft. The amendment is very different. And so because I believe they decided to postpone until April to give council members time to review Councilmember Kirkowitz's new draft. So,
Can
it's
you
ve-
tell us the essence of it?
um,
Or is it that complex?
hey Janice, you want to speak? She's our in-house expert on GP. But it's very different. It's from my understanding, I haven't had the moment yet to fully read through it, but it's I would say it's basically like a whole rewrite. It's just her own version of a general plan, is my understanding. I haven't read it, I don't know it. But there was some questions about of it being so significantly different. Everybody as my understanding understands that it would probably have to go back to planning commission if council votes for this new version, for this amendment. But I think they're still trying to figure out those pieces, last I heard.
Well, if you need someone to come testify when that comes up, there's been a tremendous amount of work that's gone in there. We've done it. Everybody else has done it. There's been, and I don't know, save it till 2045 or when this was supposed to last till, but I find that amazing.
Yeah, so my understanding it's I think April 7th is the new date but the agenda hasn't been posted or anything like that, so. Yeah, that's the latest that we've heard.
That's when the new version comes out for public to look at. Is that what you're saying?
It's already posted, so we can share it out. I think we've been sending all the ACs updates on the GP. So actually, I think we've shared it out already if you guys wanna, but if you guys haven't found it, we can blast it again. That's no problem.
I'll look for it.
But yeah,
I think this is great. All of this is voluntary. I mean,
Yes, so it's a particular communication, you probably have shared it with AC than that one from Councilmember Kirkowitz. We asked for a little more time so that Councilmember Kirkowitz could identify where the changes are, what sections are being changed with the draft that she's proposing and the language she's proposing. We've also, council asked, because she's also speaking about tweaks or changes in the maps that are within the general plan 2045. And so those are all supposed to kind of come together in some sort of package. And she wanted to send the pros and the language ahead for further review. But we kind of see that they're all part and parcel and connected between each of those sections that she's proposing changes for, as well as the maps that would be kind of connected. So looking for a couple different pieces upcoming in April. And it's going to be at committee on April 7th, as Miriam mentioned here. But yes, it's a significant change. We also are looking for some guidance from county attorneys, corporation counsel on what is considered a substantial change. What are the thresholds? At this point, because the general plan has been passed over to county council, it is seen as a bill for ordinance. So yes, it has the makings of a planning document, a long-range planning document, but our work is done through bills and resolutions for ordinance and those sort of things. So at some point it becomes a different sort of beast and we have to amend it and change it. So we're looking for guidance from county attorneys on our jurisdiction in terms of what we edit, how we edit, what goes down to the planning commissions for their review. And really is their review advisory at this point. because it is at county council. So we're the last stop on the train for the general plan. So we've had all the review, as I talked to you, I think, last fall a little bit, we've had all the review of the different chapters in different council meetings, special committee meetings. Going through each of the different chapters with the planning department, walking us through the different sections, talking about different ideas and possible changes. So we're all kind of going through that process right now. And Councilmember Kirkowitz, the chair of that particular committee, has really taken upon herself to kind of pull that all together, listen to all of us and present some changes. And they are very different than what you view as a general plan, because the general plan, the consultants were hired by the planning department to make it look very nice, I would say, with pictures and maps and, kind of bring it all together in a presentable document. What is being proposed is very strictly, verbiage that's being changed. And we're just asking her to identify what are the changes from the 2045 to what her version is. So just kind of connecting some of the dots in that conversation. But so we're gonna be picking up on April 7th again, and interesting conversations for sure on that. Yep. Hope that gives us a little bit
I
more
brought
insight on that.
You asked for, this is the library.
Oh, okay.
But your question about testifying, you can still testify on it. I mean, it's still there in our public meetings. So yeah, if you're set on certain language or want to see additions or changes, that's what the meetings are for. Yeah.
I do a quick question. What was in the end, the treatment for the CDPs in the general plan and the expectation for updates, like for example, updating the South Kohala Community Development Plan?
The expectation for updating your guys' CDP?
Yeah, and how that interacts with the currently proposed, the final general plan.
Okay, I didn't read if there.
Well, it empowers us.
It's not really mapped out very specifically. We're part of the challenge we had in our last conversation last week. In the 2005 general plan, it lays out of kind of a very specific, a path about making amendments, comprehensive changes, and those sort of things. The 2045 one doesn't have all those pieces, so there may be some other legislation that will talk about amendments and changes after the fact, but they really haven't really talked about the CDP's role afterward. And that's something that when the general plan is adopted, then the CDPs are going to be taking that task on, and planning department's going to be working with all the action committees to kind of go more regionally based, right? So like the 2008 document, you have what we're all talking about, that it took 3 years to kind of get to a point where they're more specific regional plans, right? The general plan are policies, long-range planning for the entire county. And then, so we're gonna have to distill it down for the South Kohala area after that. So it's gonna be a process after the general plan. And I don't know the specific steps because that really hasn't been mapped out yet. That's a conversation we have to have with planning department going forward on that one.
So, there are several possibilities. So, do the CDPs amend the general plan? Do the CDPs are additional documents that the general plan is
What
superior
does the
or
CDP
inferior
say?
to, right? Like these are the kinds of questions that would be useful to know when updating the CDP so that it can be drafted appropriately. Because right now the CDPs are different between the different parts of the island, and some of them are quite directive. And since they are, I don't know what the right term is, they were approved as ordinances, weren't they? The CDPs, right? So in theory, they give direction to the county that isn't the same as the general plan, and they might even be different. So it would be good this time around to make sure that how the community development plans and the general plan interact is defined, so that it's clear for everybody. It will help a lot in the future, I think.
Yeah, and that's good insight into that because the general plan speaks very broadly. The CDPs are interaction committees, and those planning documents can be very regionally based, more specific. And they may look different in the future because there were different consultants hired for all the different action committees.
Yep.
The timelines were all different. Some communities don't even have an action committee. So there is and I don't sit on it, but there is a permitted interaction group at council. Because we can form them too. But there is one to really look at the CDPs and the structure of the CDPs because all the communities are a little bit different. Some don't have them. Other municipalities do it a little bit differently. North Kohala, for example, here in District 9, they operate in their own space. They were supported by planning department at one point in time, but they kind of shifted and want to do more
Yep.
grassroots sort of efforts. So there is a group of council members. We haven't seen their work come out yet. Because when they do their permitted action group, when we form it, it's formed and they go and do their work. And the one time they come and present, they are done. Kind of, it's very similar in a sense, but they're done with their work and then there'll be legislation that may come out after that. But I don't sit on that one, so I don't know the active work that they're doing on it. So and they may have reached out to some of your members. I don't know. I've asked them to.
I mean, I know that what the one we had before, okay, the one we're replacing, that actually was where the genesis of CDPs. It's in there. And then I've looked at the one they're proposing. Now, I don't know how much they've changed it since the last time I looked at it. But as far as I mean, I looked to see that it was, well, it was similar, but that there's a broadness to them that actually is kind of necessary because we have such varieties in our communities. And this is the only one where we couldn't even, we had to do 4 different communities to be even represent South Kohala because they're so very different. So.
Would it be possible for us to ask if the council's permitted interaction group for CDPs could speak to this committee or some members of this committee?
Yeah, and I mean, there's a chance that we're not in the loop, but since that group was put together last year, that we haven't heard any activity, but it could just be that they're collaborating amongst themselves. And to speak to your point earlier, Kevin, like under current language, we're currently under the general plan, the 2005 general plan. And so that general plan calls out for the other CDPs and brings that implementation section. And that was carried in our 2045 draft. This one, and it actually called to what I think you were kind of noting where this to bring the CDPs all to have the same structure and kind of that same like look, so and to reflect so that they could be more easily incorporated into the general plan. So that was kind of a call out that was made in here. But with this new introduced amendment by Councilmember Kirkowitz, we don't know really what that looks like because I do believe it's. I don't think, but we have to read it and see if there's any specific mention, but from what I've heard, it actually it's a much shorter narrative. So, but we're seeing where it fits exactly and what pieces she was keeping of the previous.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we'll just table this one too, but we would like to be in the loop of anything that would affect the CDPs and.
Yeah, and we'll keep
so,
blasting those updates as we get them.
Yeah.
And feel free to reach out with any other specific questions, because if you have the questions, another member probably does also.
Great.
Answer unanimous.
Great. Okay, thank you. Okay, just a little bit of time here. We do have time for public testimony on any matters that are not on the agenda. So if there's any
would like to say something. I don't know whether it's somebody else.
Okay.
Margaret Willie,
Yes.
if I could,
Thank
just
you.
quick. one thing I want to ask is whether you all are dealing with, or the planning committee department is on Parker Ranch's obligation to build the third phase of Aloha, which is required to be done when there's development adjacent there too, and there's a great deal of development, a whole solar farm adjacent there too. I have raised this with this South Kohala Traffic Committee, um, and so it's of concern. The Public Works Department deputy said, well, Parker Ranch says, you know, we don't have to do it until whatever, and we want to work with Parker Ranch. And I said, that's not the way it works with Parker Ranch, but I don't want to, so that's one question. Just, I don't know whether that issue has come up here. Second, I just want to ask about on the relationship of the general plan to the rules and the specifics like subdivisions and all of the regulations. And when I was on the council, we were dealing with the whole all of this in the general plan, and it's really supposed to be done every 10 years. And then once you have the general plan, you deal with the community development plans, and then and then subdivision plans and all of the specific rules and variances like that. But according to the planning commission, the planning department wants to reverse that, and we're going to make all the changes in the rules. And then we'll finally in 2045 come up with a general plan that's supposed to be the overarching development. And then the questions like what you all were asking about the, South Kohala community plan, it would be done in 2050 or something. It follows the general plan, right? So right now, you all are under the current general plan and the current our South Kohala community development plan. And that's what you can modify or amend or whatever you want to do on it between now and then. But if the planning department goes ahead and starts changing all all what's supposed to follow after all of these overarching, documents, it's all being done in reverse to me. The way if you just looking at the law. But I think the one thing is that our CDP, our South Kohala, gave you all a lot of power with respect to capital projects and are supposed to have a major say in that. And that was always, seemed to me, often ignored, and deciding where big money should be spent. But anyway, I honor you and appreciate that you're working on this, and I see Ruth is still there when we were working on the South
Oh, yeah.
Kohala Community Development Plan together. But those are just a couple, I don't want to get into the um, the whole general plan, but something like just in terms of traffic, I know that you focused on some of the issues in Waikoloa, but one major one that's just seems to be being ignored by the county is Parker Ranch's obligation to build that third phase of the, of Aloha, right? And I know that James had tried to get them to come in and speak to the South Kohala Traffic Committee, and they weren't interested in doing that. So, and they're still don't seem interested in doing, anyway, just a couple things of concern from the Waimea perspective and just from how the rule of law is supposed to work and how it works here.
Okay, thank you very much. I wasn't sure. You kind of broke up on several things, so I
Oh.
wasn't sure. But yeah,
I'm-
maybe if I could get the more information from you directly later on,
Okay.
we can share that with the committee.
I'm gonna say
But I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Margaret. Mr. Chair.
go ahead.
Parker Ranch will be one of the spokesperson to give a presentation at the next Waimea Community Association. meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
That'll-
Okay. We need to move on real quick. Yes, actually, you can go ahead because
Speak about anything in particular, but one project that I think this group should actively watch is the extension of the Daniel K. Inouye Highway. That project is kicking off again with they're trying to finalize their environmental impact statement. So, yeah, so I would recommend this group kind of track that one as it comes up. Yep.
Oh, yes.
That's correct. Yep. So this committee should kind of watch that project and put it on a future agenda or think about those sort of things. Yeah. I don't know if there's any other questions or topics you want me to cover here before we wrap up here.
I think if you have anything more, I think that's fine.
Don't,
Don't.
do you want me to do the flower thing?
Oh, yes, real quick. Ruth has something to share with us real quick.
Thank you, James.
Yes. I did ask her, Ruth, to share this.
Okay, so this is just, it's the acronym, it's the Friends of the Library. Oh, good idea. Friends of the Library for the Waikoloa region. The acronym is FLOWER. Okay, so Scott asked me to check on this. I had intended to go to their meeting, but anyway, so they have a plan that their plan is to have a request for proposal out by the end of the fiscal year. And it will probably take a year to get the bidding process finalized. They expect that the librarian would be funded and could be active at the time of when construction starts, which would be a good thing. This was the state librarian that was here and addressing the group. And she said that the funding for the books and the shelvings and the equipment that all needs to go with the library will be was anticipated to be included in the $20 million as they've been allocated. And then in regard to the librarian, I'm talking about the head honcho, she obviously doesn't have control over everything, has to go through a lot of agencies, lawyers, drafting documents, and she'll be happy to give us more information later.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Yeah. Appreciate the update. Just to have one quick update. It's for Waimea actually, but it's of the Waikoloa Reservoir number 1, and that is still being worked on. Completion is projected for January 2027. So the 2 reservoirs have been, the Department of Water has been working to fix the well that has been out of commission. And so that is the reason why Waimea has been under a conservation warning, which is 10% of your, to reduce 10% of your usage. But it's not because they didn't have they just weren't able to access the water from the well. The reservoir is now pretty much pretty good right now. But there are Waikoloa 2 and 3 are full right now, I believe. And work is also progressing on Lalamilo, which is a million gallon reservoir as well. But anyway, okay, so that was just that, just on water updating. And see if does anybody else have any announcements or anything?
I'd like to make an announcement.
Go ahead, Tricia.
The Waimea Community Association meeting will be Thursday, April 2nd, 5:30 to 7 at the Jerry Nelson Conference Room at Keck Observatory headquarters in Waimea. And the agenda is community briefings from Parker Ranch, Queens, North Hawaii Community Hospital, and Pohakuloa Training Area.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Um,
Can I share an aha minute I just had? So I'm listening to all this information that we're supposed to be tracking, and I keep coming back to there being limited time. So I do actually think so. The University of Hawaii has a school in Hilo where many of these things go on. I think we should find some political science majors, graduate students who do their thesis on all these things. Let them be our web makers. I'm okay. I'm an educator, but I think I keep wondering how we're going to do all this. And when I see our success rate, it depresses me. So, and it'd be a great thing for a graduate student to do. I don't know who I have to go talk about that, but I'm gonna peddle that one. All right,
okay,
thanks,
thank you.
Scott.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of you for coming.
And one
And
more, Mr. Chair.
if anybody, oh, sorry, Tristy.
Is there an update to applications in regards to new action committee members?
I don't know if
Or
anybody's
holdovers?
received. I do have several that I'm trying to push, but
Miriam, do you know how much right now are in the applicant process of, or is the county not? I guess we haven't heard an update from Micah Alameda in regards to recruitment of new action committee members, or an update post the chairman's training, chairman's, vice chairman's training on the ACs. And so since then, we haven't had much from the county as a, I guess, report on the process from that meeting. Scott wasn't able to attend that time, and
no.
Tracy, can you shoot over an email to us with those two pieces, asking about recruitment and those minutes, and then we'll shoot it over to him. And
Okay.
try and use that to get an update,
Okay.
if you don't mind. Thank
I
you.
don't
Okay,
have minutes
thank-
because nothing came from it. Sorry.
All right. Thank you very much. Move to adjourn. So thank you very much for coming.
Take care.
All right. Aloha.
Thank you.